Hey everybody, it's Deanna with toolsofenergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert, and we're going live tonight on Instagram and Facebook. I'll give everybody a little time to get on and welcome you to Terrific Tuesday. We do every Tuesday live on Facebook and Instagram. And so in doing this, I invite people to come on, ask questions, to get to know what's happening on the planet at this time, to get to know what the frequencies are, the vibrations, what's that doing to us, and how we're feeling. So I'm going to ask that you share this with other people that you know it might be of service to, and give them the toolsofenergyprotection.com link, or perhaps give them the direct link here to Facebook or Instagram. So I'm so glad that everybody's taken time to join. It is March 19th, 2019, and it's hard to believe that it's been so fast, the first part of the year. We are almost to the end of March, and tonight I'm going to take just a little bit of time to share some things that are quite exciting. I am going to really work on expanding the awareness of people coming here to the lives, and I'm going to share them more because I believe if we get some more people involved, it'll really help the synergy for all of us to be able to understand and expand in our lives. So if everybody can help join with that by sharing this, that would be perfect. All right, let's move on. So what's happening right now on the planet? What's happening in our world? There's a North Pole, as you know, and a South Pole, and in between that there's magnetic ley lines. And those ley lines shift in frequency and hertz according to the alignment of the planets. And that's how God's Spirit or Source created our reality. And in the creation of that reality, those shifts in turn shift the heartbeat of the earth or the heartbeat of the planet, and then we as bioelectromagnetic beings, our bodies respond to that, and combined with what's inside of our hearts and what's inside of our souls and what we're learning in this life, and that's what brings experiences or drama to our lives so we can then learn. And the ideal outcome is to be centered and balanced and in a state or a place of love no matter what's happening around us. We all know that we have in our heads a fight or flight response, and that's normal. So unless you have the ability to speak and perhaps stop a tornado, then if you see one coming, best to get out of the way. And right now, the planet is shifting to where there is so much power in duality that we are being asked to shift from one side to another. And this has been going on for a while, and it's getting more intense because a portal opened. And for those of you that don't know what a portal is simply like a section of energy that allows different things to travel back and forth. Sometimes they're one way, sometimes they're the other. Sometimes they're like the doors in a French restaurant where, you know, the guys go in one and out the other, right? And that portal is usually a connection to a higher dimensional frequency and then comes down to the 3D world or the planet Earth, but not always. But in this case, 2 weekends ago now, we had a shift into this portal that is allowing us as spirit beings inside of a physical body to connect at a higher level. And last weekend, as you know, I was at the Body Mind Celebration Expo in Denver, Colorado, and had quite a few very lovely people come up and tell me that they now feel a huge sense of urgency to move forward in their spiritual lives, and it's almost overwhelming. So in that, it's important that you listen to what's going on inside of you. And if you have this need for a quest, a desire for a quest, and it's really bugging you, then that's the area to move forward in your life. For myself, my world has literally been split, well, not literally, but figuratively, I guess, been split in two because I have a desired outcome to move forward in one area of my life, and I also have a desired outcome to move in another area of my life. And both of these areas are competing for my attention and my time, which is causing a huge split inside of me. So what's to be done about it? Well, first is to acknowledge that when that portal opened, it's allowing our consciousness, our spiritual consciousness, to combine with our physical consciousness and really lift our awareness up. That's what's happening. So my 3D world self is like, oh, here's this and they're in conflict, you know, right here, constantly, go, 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 go. And it's really hard to have two competing things that you know that you can't give your attention to equally. So I began looking at, well, can I do this some of the time and this some of the time? And then how does that feel? And how do I put those things on my calendar? And how do I make them flow? And it just built more and more and more until I was breaking down emotionally. Yes, even me. A couple Tuesdays ago, I just lost it. And I wanted to throw everything out, just everything, because I couldn't make the things balance that I desired to balance, where they had balanced just last year, or at least I thought they did. But with this new awareness, the new awareness is telling me to bring peace and joy into what I'm doing on a daily basis instead of de-rest and stress and perceived failure. And I'm thinking to myself, how can I possibly do that? I can't add any more to my plate. I don't have anybody else to pass this to, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you take some time to think about your life and the desired outcome of Spirit, Spirit, God, or Source desires us to be abundant and joyful. And what I just talked about, not abundant, not joyful. So it's allowing ourselves to separate from what we've been doing, this little habit trail that I've been busily on, and to pull our consciousness up. If you imagine swimming in a pool full of water and you come to the edge and you pull yourself up so you can see out, that's what I'm talking about. When you can see out, you can see a way, as long as the way out comes through the mind of Spirit into your mind. And we all have things that we do habitually that may not be the best. We might have addictions to things that we like. But right now it's having the awareness of what can you do tomorrow and the next day, step by step, to change yourself from being under here where all the turbulence is to pulling your consciousness up here to where the turbulence isn't, and bringing that down into the 3D world to create. God, Spirit, or Source says that He will always support us. He will always help us. He's always there. But we have to take action. That's the bottom line. I remember years and years ago praying for God to help me. I kept crying out, please help me, please help me. I'm desperate, please help me, right? And the help didn't come. Or at least I perceived it didn't come. But what actually happened was the way for me to go was open. The gate was open, but it required one big thing for me to do, which is really kind of owie to talk about. But people at the fair said, hey, when you share things with us, I feel the same way you do. It helps me to feel better. So here goes a great big old share. And the desired outcome is that those hearing it later will be gentle and loving. But my big share was that when all these things were happening to me, not only was I in a position where magnetically I was drawing those things to me, although I would never think I would draw, abuse to me or being ill-treated to me, but somehow I was doing that, bringing that to me. And I didn't like it very much, but I kept participating in it. And it's debilitating, and it causes depression, and it causes anxiety. And so how do you get that turned around? Well, in wisdom, remember that there's a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and energy body. And recently I read a book by a man named Dr. Joe Dispenza that he talks about neuroplasticity, about your brain waves moving. And in full disclosure, I didn't read the whole thing cover to cover. I read bits of it to get some information going for me. And I learned that our brain patterns what it sees when it's little. I was telling somebody at the fair this. If you watch your parents arguing, if you watch how they react, if you watch them fighting, if you watch how your mom reacts with other women and other men, and your dad, other women, other men, in relationships, then when you get older and you find yourself in an adult position, your brain will pull forward the memory to help you process whatever's right in front of you. And so it's so important in raising children that we are not projecting that on them, but we do, because it's what is normal to us, because it's what our brains are pulling forward. And that hurts me because I do not like being that person, to my child. And so I'm working on myself, attempting to change who I am, to change my thinking, and realizing that. And it's a challenge, because the desire is to give all you can to your child so that they can go forward and do what they were meant to do by God's Spirit or Source in this world they find themselves living. And it's not easy, especially when you're pulling information from your childhood and you'd like to make a different change. So that's where reading books, going to a counselor, talking to other moms and dads, talking to grandparents if you have them available, can really help you to know a different action to move forward than the one you've seen or the one you're using. Now, if that worked for you, if you're, what is that, I don't know, there's an author out talks about, being raised with a wealthy mindset. Well, if that's what you have, don't worry about it. But if you do have challenges in whatever it is, parenting or, being a friend or a relative or whatever, the time is now, because that portal is drawing our consciousness to a higher level. It's drawing our consciousness into the here and now, the spirit consciousness, to look at our world and say, how can we make it happier? And I know that quite a few of us have made mistakes in the past. And those mistakes have caused quite a bit of trouble, quite a bit of issues for us. And the mistakes of the past sometimes are still working themselves out in our here and now. And we struggle with that. The idea is to forgive yourself, elevate your consciousness, and do the best you can moving forward with those relationships if they're still available. If it's somebody who's not around anymore, ask for them to love, bless, and release, and even if it's at a spirit level. But that's where we're at right now. And a guy that I followed today, he said, reality is real, and sometimes all we want is to be somewhere else. But the here and now is where we are, and to make the most of it. And I thought that was really good, because I will say myself, today I really did not want to be in my here and now. Part of it's stuff I've created, part of it's stuff I'm repeating, and I'm not sure how to get out of it. So I prayed about it. I asked God to help me to move my heart. And before I got on tonight, I did have a few ideas, which I promptly wrote down. And I will initiate those ideas tomorrow, because I know that that's God's Spirit or Source helping me, and I have a choice. I can either walk forward and initiate what was given to me, or I can ignore it and stay in the same old place. Okay, so it's basically a Queen song, We Are the Champions. And it talks about defeating and things that have been defeating us, and how challenging that can be. Having sand, I think he says, having sand kicked in his face, but he still was able to go forward. He was still able to go forward and be a champion. And so if we can continue to do that, if we can continue to walk forward and be the champions that we truly are, that's the thing to do right at the moment. That is where we are truly at. So I thank you. Somebody posted here on Instagram that Facebook had dropped out for whatever reason. I'm not sure what's going on there. Kind of weird. Who knows? But anyway, big hugs and kisses for those that joined, and thank you for the heads up on the Facebook that it had dropped out. I'll do the best I can to get that rocking again. Who knows? Maybe it was time for me to end that particular broadcast. But anyways, we will see you next week. Have a great day.